Hi, welcome back to Coldstream Rod Shop. I'm Derek Fraser. In this episode, we are going to continue working on the windshield frame on the 32.5 window coupe. Last week we did the sheet metal over here on this side, and when we fixed around the cowl band here. This week I'm going to keep working. There's a couple tiny little repairs here, and I'm going to work my way across the top and actually fix this sheet metal. I'll have to close out that bullet hole that I mentioned a couple times now, and then just keep working my way around with ultimately trying to get to the point where I can actually put the windshield frame back in. The hinges are still in there. They're going to have to be freed up. We've got a windshield frame over there, a complete one. So let's see if we can get this fixed up and get a windshield frame in this episode. As you can see, my wife actually hates me saying that. As you can see, I fixed the bullet hole here. Just opened it up, took a small piece of 18 gauge metal, welded it in place and dressed it off. So now we get the bullet hole fixed up. Next I was going to tackle doing the lip here. Basically there's sheet metal missing from this point to here, and then we've got a lot of rod here. I don't think I can do this all in one piece. What I thought I would do is this is kind of like the worst piece here, because I'm going to have to actually go up into this this reveal here. So what I did, tried a couple different things, but kind of came up with this piece of sheet metal here, which I think is going to work. Everything tells me it's going to work based on my experience, but in order to make that, this little round piece here, I formed that on the bead roller. Then I bent the next piece on the brake, and then this piece here, I basically took my mini grinder with a small cutoff wheel, and I notched a line here, and I was able to fold this over because this is too small on my brake to make this kind of a shape. So what I'll do is I'll come on the back of this and I'll weld this seam here where I kind of compromised it when I bent it. So the other thing, this edge here, the bead roller gave me the basic shape, but over here on the bench, I'll show you what I use to kind of smooth it off a little bit to get a little bit more of a round shape to it. So over here on the bench, I've made up all these different mandrels over the years for doing different things, but it's just a piece of high pressure pipe here welded to a piece of string steel, but it gives me something to beat against. So what I was able to do, I could just basically tap it to get the basic shape, you know, to kind of refine the curve. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut that out and try and fit that in and see if I get it right. is the first piece welded in across the top, and then I carried on and I welded in just an L-shaped piece like this over here. This one right now is set up for me to weld in, basically to weld in there to patch it. So I'm basically going from this point all the way to here to repair it. That is the piece that I cut out. I don't know if you can see it through the lights, but I mean, there was just no way that you can see right through it. So there's no way that I was going to be able to weld any little holes into it. I was able to weld a couple little holes up in here, which this corner is kind of, I think it's saved. But over in this corner, it's kind of looking as though I'm going to have to actually cut this out around the corner and then put a piece of metal here. So we're pretty much doing the entire top of the windshield frame here. I'm going to really try and finish this off because I'd like to actually start fitting the windshield in this before we finish this episode off. Here we are a couple days later and lots of hours. Essentially across the top of this windshield frame here, I basically had to replace the metal, all but about 2 or 3 inches of it. There was just too many pinholes. At the moment, what I have is the top half of a 32 Ford windshield frame in there right now, because this particular piece has the hinge mechanisms on it. The one that's hanging here doesn't. So what I did to check the shape of it was I positioned this up on the window, and then I was working on the hinges on the inside here. The hinges were C's, so basically I used the propane torch and the little wax method, heated them up, and then hit them with some WD-40 and stuff. So those hinges work fine right now. Now, this windshield frame, because it doesn't have the piece across the bottom, you show a little bit of, it shows a little bit of misalignment here, but that's because when the bottom piece goes in, it actually puts a bow to the windshield. So I'm going to take this out. I'll show you the repairs I did. I finished doing the screws on this side too. All those are repaired, the threads. So I'm going to take this windshield frame out. And of course, this windshield frame was attached with the 1224 screws, which are a bit, well, they're not common. It's not like you can run down to your local hardware store and buy them. But like I said in a previous episode, I just went on to Amazon. I bought a bag of them. So I have extra 1224s and a few taps. So we'll take this out of here. This particular frame for fitting purposes has the hinges on it. This one's been stripped, but I think you should be able to see here across the top where basically all of the metal has been replaced around here. Down along this side, I was able to make some patches and kind of, we'll see what happens when I sandblast it. If I sandblast it and it comes apart, I'll fix that up some more. But if I take this windshield frame, place it in there, like it fits like it's supposed to. There's a big rubber gasket that goes all the way around, so basically that's my sanity check to make sure that the windshield frame is the right shape. So that's it for this episode. The owner he has his own good windshield. These were just sent to me for basically fitting purposes and that. I don't need to repair this windshield frame. What we're going to do next, I'm either going to work on fitting the doors and working on the gap, or over here there's a pretty sad deck lid that's been butchered up quite a bit. We may work on that next, fix this deck lid and fit it on the back. But again, that's it for this week. Please like, share, tag, and subscribe. And as always, send your comments, and I hope to see you next week. Everybody take care.